Welcome back to Applied Algebra. In this video we're going to finish up Chapter 5 by dividing by a polynomial. I have 3 examples that I will show you, trying to see the different ways that it happens and the different options you have. In the first example we have divide 2x squared plus x minus 14 by x plus 3. The difference between the previous section and this one is that we're dividing now by a binomial. Notice it's x plus 3, where before it was a monomial. The way that it is set up here, it looks like what we're used to doing with regular division. So if you can think about having to divide 2, say, into 4, 3, 7. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. And then we subtract that, bringing this down to nothing. Brought down the 3. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down the 7. 2 goes into 17 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract, and I have a remainder of 1. This is the process we're going to do. We're just going to do it with variables instead of just numbers. So when we go ahead and do this, what we're trying to do is we're going to see how many times the x will go into 2x squared. So I'm going to come over here and think, okay, I have 2x squared. I have to divide it by x, and that's going to leave me with 2x. My colors aren't working for some reason, so I'll have to make it work with just the one. This number that this variable that I've came up with here, this term, I'm going to place right above it. Now I'm going to do the distributive property. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Now, just like we did over here, we subtracted our results. We're going to subtract our results. Make sure you subtract both parts, not just one part. The 2x squareds wipe out. I have x minus 6x, leaving me with negative 5x. And I'm going to bring down the next term, just as I did over here on the right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take the first term, which is the negative 5x. I want to take x into it. Negative 5x divided by x is negative 5, as we learned in the last section. That negative 5 goes up on the top. Now I distribute. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Now we are subtracting, so we have to remember that when we subtract a negative, it turns to a positive, not just for the first term, but for both terms. So this negative 5x plus 5x disappears. Negative 14 plus 15 is 1. That 1 is my remainder. And for this, you're welcome to just write remainder of whatever it is. So we'll go down and try the next one. It's a little bit bigger. Notice it does have an expression in front. In fact, it has a 2 in front. That doesn't mean the process is any different. So I'm going to take the first term, the 8x cubed. I'm going to divide it by the first term of 2x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. If I have 3 x's, take one away, I'm left with 2. So I get 4x squared. Now I distribute 4x squared times 2x, that is 8x cubed. 4x squared times negative 3 is negative 12x squared. My job is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract that, which makes that go to a positive, and yellow is not a good color. Let's get it off the yellow. Okay, we're on purple, that'll work. 8x cubed minus 8x cubed wipes out. Negative 22 plus 12 is negative 10x squared. We bring down the next term. I take this negative 10x squared. I divide it by the 2x. It's always by this front one. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. I have x squared. I'm dividing by x, so that leaves me with 1x. That always goes on the top. Now I distribute. Negative 5x times 2x is negative 10x squared. Negative 5x times negative 3 is a positive 15x. I am going to subtract. Remember, when I subtract, it's going to change that to a positive. This time it's going to change this positive to a negative. Negative 10x squared plus 10x squared wipes out. 27x minus 15x leaves me with 12x. I'm going to bring down my last term of negative 18. I still take the first term in whatever I'm moving toward. I have 12x. I'm dividing it by 2x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. The x's cancel. This 6 goes up on top. Notice all of my top terms end up over here on the right. Now I'm going to distribute 6 times 2x, which is 12x. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. I'm subtracting, which changes my signs. Those go away, and in this case they all go away and I have no remainder. So I don't even have an r on this one. So once in a while they will go in evenly. As I look at this next one, I have x cubed minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Notice that there's an x cubed but no x squared and an x. When we do this process, we do have to have every term written down and accounted for. So even though I don't have any, I just put 0x squared and 0x to show that I've looked at them and thought about them. So I'm going to start with x cubed. I'm going to divide it by x, leaving me with x squared. Now I'm distributing. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. I'm going to subtract, which changes my signs. 0 plus, remember there's an invisible 1 here. 0 plus 1 is 1x squared. I'm going to bring down the next term, which happens to be my 0x. I'm trying to get this x squared here, so I have 1x squared. I always divide by the front term of x. X squared divided by x is just x, and it is positive, so I want to make sure I put a plus x up here. I'm going to distribute the positive x. Positive x times positive x is a positive x squared. Positive x times negative 1 is a negative 1x. I'm going to subtract, which causes those to go to opposite signs. X squared minus x squared is gone. 0x plus 1x is 1x. Bring down the negative 1. 1x is what I'm trying to get. I always divide by the front term of x. X divided by x cancels, leaving me with the number 1. It is positive, so I'm going to put a plus 1. Distribute. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. I'm going to subtract, which changes signs. Goes away, goes away. Second time I ended up with no remainder. So in this case, the big thing though is if you're missing terms, like we were missing an x squared and an x, make sure you put zeros there to hold their place value. If you need any other help, please let me know and I'll see what I can do to help out. Have a good day.